Welcome back to another video, everyone. Today I'm getting a bike fit with the owner of VeloClinic, Callum Hughes. This is the second video in a two-part series. I'll link the first video above for you to just go and check it out if you haven't seen it already. It will give you a little bit of context for this video. The plan today is to optimize my position with the new shorter cranks, but also make sure it's a sustainable position as well. Callum isn't just fitting me on my TT bike, he's also doing my roadie as well to make sure that everything is as it should be, which, fingers crossed, will in turn reduce the pain I'm feeling in my back. Without any further ado, let's crack on with the video.
Yeah, it does feel like, it feels like my hands are lower. Yeah. But yeah, it feels like maybe my back's a little flatter. I don't know.
Keep it in for a minute. Okay. So what we need to focus on is really relaxing here. Okay. Trying to plank into the bike, so really letting your body just almost drop down. Okay. The bars are almost pushing your body up a little bit, yeah. So really try and switch off here. Keep breathing.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so you can see what we're trying to do with the trunk.
Yeah.
Is really like completely eliminate any tension you've got back. And it's hard. I think
feels weird, it feels like I'm trying to push my chest.
I think if we turn the bars up, like if the angle came up on the clamp and the extensions, it would set your back down further. Okay. So at the moment, if I pull your hands down, your back's gonna come up. So I think just having the hands up. So if you drop down here for a second. Yep. Right, and then start pedaling. I'm just gonna put crazy little box on front. Alright, so lift your hands up. You almost have to lift your head up a little bit higher. Yeah. It's silly, isn't it? But you'll see what I mean in a moment. How does that feel?
I feel like Joe Skipper.
Doing the Joe Skipper. Yeah. What we're doing here is showing you the extreme of positions. Yeah. Are you thinking about your back at all?
Not really, to be honest.
Yeah, cool. But that's like too much.
Oh wow, okay.
So you can see how having him really high almost gets your shoulder blade to stick into your back and cause it to be flat anyway. So there's almost no difference without you thinking about it.
Okay.
The bike like this handles completely different.
Really?
And that's the hardest part to get across to people. It's as if the weight is trying to be further back, so it feels like you're pointing your elbows to steer.
Yeah, that's what it did feel like. It was like I was like there.
Instability, yeah. And it does take a lot of getting used to. Okay. So for me, you wouldn't have to go that high. That was there was a 12 or 15 centimetre rise. So if you did 7 centimetres, so if we took it up to there, that would be much better. You'd be able to hang onto your fingers as well to lift them up artificially if you wanted to, into a headwind or. Yeah. And for me, it's that position there. So from there
to there. Because that's what I was looking at some people's position, what they do with their shoulders. Yeah. So I didn't know like you're meant to do that or that, and people seem to be doing
that into a headwind. Into a headwind. Yeah. Okay. Because that can make you narrower into a wind. Okay. And then all the other times it's relaxed because that's going to be better for your breathing. Yeah. Okay. The moment you start doing this, it pulls all the fascia up from your hips and your TFL, so everything comes up. Yeah. And there's loads of.
Because that's what I find when I'm trying to get really aggressive. I'm like,
it pulls everywhere else.
Breathing is killing me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's like strapping a belt around your chest.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's the hardest part.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a load of fascial work that you can do that might free up a little bit of space.
Okay. Yep.
So if that's tight, you won't get this movement. So when you run on the bike, it's fine because you're in that position. But as soon as you start running, you need that freedom. And if it's always there, because most of the race is bike, so over 50% of the race is bike. So we're usually training dominant bike as well. Okay. Makes sense. But that position is counterintuitive to what we want to achieve in the run. Yeah. So sort of thoracic spine sort of work. You want to lay into your thoracic, put your arms across your chest and hug. That will move your scapulars out of the way. Yep. And then you can mobilise, flexion and extension through each part of your spine,
Okay.
and then rub side to side, sort of
that
try.
was painful.
It feels good after a little while. So it's trying to get the muscles to release and let the fascia actually loosen up, so there's no adhesion between, you know, skin, fascia, and muscles.
Okay.
So you literally work your way up and down the spine, come down a little bit more, rub across. You know, roll onto a side, see if you can breathe, because that's what you need to do.
Okay.
Nice and relaxed, let your body sink into it, roll onto the other side. Bit tighter on one side, so sort of a little bit more work on one side. And you'll find, you might find bits that are tight and bits that are not, and you can literally just extend and flex through the spine, all the way up and down. And if I let go of my shoulders, my arm, like across my body, my shoulder blade actually pushes onto it, so then I'm working like the meat around my shoulders instead of my thoracic spine.
Right, okay.
So you get people going, yeah, I'm just working my spine, you're not at all. So all of your extensors run up either side of your spine, so it's pull your scapula out of the way, like Richie. Really give yourself a hug to sort of move them out of the way, and then sort of rub across.
Nice.
And try and release it. So one thing that is good, your ankling and how you're pedaling has remained exactly the same.
Okay.
So nothing's changed in your legs. Your hip angle's a little, like 2 degrees tighter from when we started.
Okay.
But you've got loads of range there, you can breathe.
Yeah.
Which is quite key. Is it feeling more relaxed?
Yeah, it feels good.
It's really, really clever, or they are really, really clever. Undo these. Because a lot of people don't know this about giant bikes.
Honestly, I had no idea.
The road bikes and their TT bikes, they all flip around. You can gain about 20 mil movement forwards, which for you brings you perfect into range.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, it's a dramatic amount. So, take this off. This one goes to the front. So you can see how the whole system has
Just flipped around.
flipped all the way around.
Yeah.
So then when we put the saddle on, the saddle's further forwards.
No way.
Yep, by about 20 mil. Just going to lower the saddle a touch.
Okay.
Because now you're sitting on the saddle
In a
more
better
comfortable
position,
place,
yeah.
A more supported place as well. So I'm going to run the numbers on this side, on the right. We'll compare it left versus right. We'll get a couple more videos.
Nice.
Keep looking straight at the door for me, please. On a turbo with straighter arms, we'd expect this range here. So this is your shoulder angle to wrist, so wrist, shoulder to hip.
Yep.
And if it's an aggressive position, 90 degrees for like people trying to be aero road racers, that's quite a tough position to hold. So for me, anything 78 to 80 on a turbo, and then when you go out on the road, soft bend in the elbows for like suspension and absorb the shock of the road. So for me, previously, your back angle was different on either side. Your shoulder angle is different by 2 degrees. Those are now almost identical. So the structure itself is more square, more even. And your knee range is only 4 degrees different instead of being 6 degrees different. So they will come back to more neutral.
Yeah.
The biggest part is the pelvis. So the knee forward foot, left knee was behind by 22 mil. Right knee was on 0. And then now that's plus 10 mil on the right and then minus 1 on the left. As that averages out, that'll be plus 4 or plus 5 mil. So it's absolutely fine.
Nice.
So I'd expect that to relieve that neural tension.
Yeah.
You won't feel like you're sitting off the back on the left, hopefully. If you do, change the saddle quick as. Yeah.
Cool. Nice.
Perfect. So, looking at your 2 bikes, after seeing you on your Trinity, we knew that you were quite symmetrical, and you still having referred pain into your lower back. The issue that I could probably see is when you've got in triathlon, we're doing 50% of the sport is more than 50% of the sport is cycling. So we tend to be quite dominant in our training towards lots of cycling. I think we need to do loads and loads and loads. The issue is if you've got a race bike and a training bike, we need to make sure they match up evenly. And as we found today, like trying to get you more symmetrical on your training bike, your winter bike, or your Propel, turbo bike,
exactly.
as well as make sure that the fit's still okay on the Trinity.
It
should pay dividends and hopefully like work out correct in the end. At least then you can get your muscles working in the right order, and you're similar in terms of how your legs are moving. Rather than having one be completely wildly different. And the biggest difference between your road and your TT bike is that hip angle. So as you start lowering your back, your hip closes, but making sure it's really open on your training bike. Get as much as you can out of it.
It's definitely noticeable. I mean, like putting the saddle forward that much, it's just so much more comfortable.
Yeah, 20 mil is a big difference.
It's
huge. And your knee was, behind the bike.
I almost felt like I was locking out my elbows, and I was like, oh my god. But actually now I'm just relaxed.
More supple and relaxed.
Yeah.
And that tension, if the moment you do this, that's got to go somewhere, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So for me, if we could, work with trying to make sure people are more symmetrical on the bike.
Yeah.
Most people, if they don't like a saddle, they sit off the saddle to the right anyway. So it's usually easier to see.
Okay.
And it's making sure that actually, if you're going to get comfortable on a saddle, make sure it's one that's you've got it on 2 bikes.
All you viewers out there, obviously bike fit is incredibly important, and Callum here is owner of VeloClinic and incredibly knowledgeable on the area of aerodynamics and bike fitting. So I guess it'd be good if you could talk a little bit about what VeloClinic is, what you offer.
I set up VeloClinic last April. I've been working in bike shops for 5 years, and I wanted to reach out to more people who sometimes people don't want to go into a bike shop to get fit because they may not like that brand or they think they're going to get missold a bike.
Yeah.
And I wanted to try and reach out and capture that audience.
Yeah.
So I went solo, and we set up in physio practices, a couple of physio practices that I work with. So people with pain and injury, we try and actually get rid of that pain as much as we can. If it's cycling related injuries and pains, then usually we can get rid of them and get rid of the referred pain that people have got. Yeah. So just by looking at how lack of range they've got, or if they're gaining range, if they've got the strength in range, make sure then their bike fits accordingly. Yeah. So we do sort of several different packages for people. Cool. Yeah. It's always good to have somebody such as yourself who's come in with pain initially, but wanted to find out the fastest fit with pain. And that's the biggest challenge, isn't it? So it's trying to be comfortable but fast.
And that's the thing. It's like I don't want to be so comfortable that I'm not aerodynamic, but also there's no point in having a fast bike if you're not comfortable, is there?
Exactly,
What's the point?
Especially if you think on flat courses for a triathlon, the more time you can spend on the aero bars, the more time you're going to gain. Yeah.
And that's one thing that I think people assume that a flat course is easier, but actually it's not, because you're in that position the whole time.
You've got a pedal.
And that's almost why I prefer a hillier course, because I can get out of the saddle and I'm just like, oh, sweet.
Recovery.
Yeah, exactly,
So we do we do fits for triathletes, road cyclists, mountain bikers, cyclocross racers, multi-sport. So myself, having a background in multi-sport, I started off in mountain biking, then got into triathlon, and then sort of really enjoyed like off-road duathlons and a bit of Xterra as well. So for me, it's trying to take all of what I've learned from those sports, having been in pain before and ridden with pain and tried to train with pain, on the bike and off the bike with injuries. It's been, for me, it's a really big learning curve to try and apply that to anybody else who's been in the same, situation. And for athletes and for everybody else, it's trying to tell people that not every pain has to stay there.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you can get rid
of
it.
It's like there's I can't remember who said it, but there's like 2 levels of pain. There's like the pain you inflict on yourself, which is almost like good pain, and the pain that your body inflicts on you, which is bad pain. And it's like knowing which one's which.
A massage therapist I used to use, who was a GB runner, and he used to say, I'd be like, oh my god, you're hurting me, and he goes, no, I'm undoing the hurt you've done to yourself.
Yeah, you've done to yourself,
So I'm like, you're so right, but this really hurts.
You hate it so much.
Where's the sick bucket? It's horrible. So I see a lot of people who are brand new to cycling, and we do an entry-level fit.
Cool.
I get a lot of people in for retool fits, dual-sided with infrared, and I get group riders, so if you get your weekend riders for your cycling clubs.
Because I think with the retool stuff, like, just gives an extra dynamic of like, instead of someone just looking at you going, it looks decent, you have the numbers there, and like, okay, that's slightly wrong, or that is right, blah blah blah. Like, you can adjust everything to the numbers that you get from it.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of it's to do with transparency. Yeah. If I show you a screen full of red numbers, they've changed them to amber now, but they used to be red. Okay. So if I show you a screen full of amber numbers and go, these are all out of range, you're going to go into your next training, racing or whatever, and go, this isn't right. This isn't right. This is going to hurt. This is going to hurt. Yeah. Whereas actually, if we look towards we've got almost everything you've got now is green. Yeah. But also your position is optimised. Yeah. And now you can go into mentally go into anything. And placebo is as or more effective than a drug. So what we're giving you is the ticket to go. Everything works well. Yeah. This is brilliant.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like you see someone who knows what they're talking about. They say you're doing something right. You go away and you're just confident in it. Yeah. And you're just like, suddenly it feels good.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what you should have. And the numbers are there for that reason. So
Yeah.
people who are massively out of range, either they don't have the range or they've got a big injury.
Yeah.
What we can do is actually give them a step-by-step process to get back to the perfect optimized position.
Nice.
We didn't evolve to cycle; we evolved to run.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we deny that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're like, no, I evolved to run a bike.
Yeah, I like bikes.
Yeah. So it's trying to optimise your biomechanics and make sure everything works well.
Yeah, nice.
And trying to back that up with everything we offer.
That's sweet. So if there's one thing that you could say the most important thing about a bike fit, what would it be?
It's a cop out really because it's a couple of things.
Yeah.
But contact patch.
Okay.
So if your hands, your feet, and your saddle,
Okay.
whatever you're touching on the bike has to be comfortable.
Okay.
If we put like drawing pins all over your saddle and bar in your shoes,
it's not gonna be great.
you'll be like, oh, and you'll have pain everywhere.
Yeah.
But you'll still make the wheels go round.
Yeah.
Because people
really
are like
is.
that. Yeah, we're stupid. So it's trying to make sure your hands, your bottom or your saddle's comfortable. You're sitting on your bones, not on your soft tissue.
Nice.
Make sure it's accommodating your anatomy,
Okay.
and then make sure your feet are comfortable.
Yeah.
Lots of shoes. If you look back at cycling shoes 10 years ago, they were probably about 15 mil narrower. So
Okay.
lots of shoes have actually gone wider in cycling and running.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have realised that actually trapping your feet like this isn't good for cycling. So it's give them a bit of room to breathe.
Okay.
So those for me are the biggest parts.
Yeah.
If anybody put on 10-year-old kit that's shoes, you'll probably find your feet are really struggle to fit.
Okay.
So contact points.
Okay. Cool. Remember that, everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Cheers for that, Callum.
Thanks, Harry.
Appreciate it.